little bit of flurry activity around Connersville, pushing off to the east, heading toward Liberty, and also a few more light showers following local forms of some flurries and patch areas of drizzle. Bedford and Madison moving towards Katy and Sparta. Now, the wider picture shows what's happening. It's this main line from Indianapolis through Louisville is going to be coming our way. Now, the rain-snow line, it cuts right in between that. So we are thinking that right about
Greetings.
Northward. Maybe what we see this morning.
It's 5:45 in the morning here on the South Bank, and I just couldn't sleep. So as I'm sitting here, itching and scratching, I started thinking about the journey ahead. Not just for me, but for all of us. And then I thought that thinking about the calendar, and looking ahead, it dawned on me that this Tuesday, the 31st, will be the State of the City address. And as you know, just this last Tuesday, we heard from our president about the state of our union. Personally, I found it very encouraging. And one of the things I thought about it, after seeing the governor of Indiana's response, first of all, I thought, this has to be pre-recorded. He certainly did not see or hear or know what was in the president's address. Because as far as I'm concerned, the president hit all his negative points right on the head. So then I'm thinking about Mayor Chuck's address coming up this Tuesday. And as you know, we have nonpartisan elections in this city, which is a good thing. But there are those that try as we might to remind them of that, and remind them that we have a city manager form of government. They just don't get it. So, my idea to speak to that is to do something that I don't think we've ever seen before. To issue a people's response. So, I'll try to, in the short time allotted by YouTube for a video, only take that brief amount of time to tell you what I think about the state of our union nationally as well as locally. Okay, so I guess the first thing I should address is what gives me the right? Who do I think I am? Ha 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 ha! I can just hear it running through your minds out there. I was born 56 years ago and raised here on the South Bank. Most of my early formative years were in Campbell County in the little town of Dayton. My father, not having graduated from high school because he went to Korea, insisted on education. And he wanted us to get the best and make the most of our opportunity. And since we were Catholic, we all went to parochial schools. I've also lived the last 34 years of my life as an out gay man. And for the last 20 years as a survivor of HIV and AIDS. I've lived in Covington since '93, which is when I got my disability, Social Security disability, after my former employer, Perkins Restaurants, hustled me out the door when I confided in a dining room manager what my HIV status was. Last but not least, sorry my friend Steve, I'm a 99%er. And I've lived that difference, especially in the last 20 years as a person of limited means on a fixed low income and who depends on a lot of our safety net programs. So, I've been around a while. I know some things because I've lived it. And I know some people. Regarding our commission, I know them because I ran with them, against them, whatever. And the reason I did that is because I felt, I saw, I knew there was such a lack of a voice at the table for my fellow Covingtonians like me. So the state of our union, the state of our city, timely in this election year, timely as I have embarked on this adventure to host one of the officially registered sites for a worldwide equal human rights, gay civil rights march on Earth Day weekend. I'm calling it April Love, for the earth and for each other. And what I heard in President Obama's State of the Union made me feel very optimistic. And I'm pretty sure what you're going to hear in the mayor's address will do the same thing, make you optimistic. Now, I'm not Mitch Daniels making this statement totally clueless. I'm one of those people who, in their retirement, can't afford to travel, can't afford to do this, can't afford to do that. But I've got lots of time, luckily still some energy, and some resources. So I find out answers to questions that I have, and that I'm sure many of my fellow Covingtonians have. Up front, I want to say I think this commission has done a bang-up job. Yep, there's been some times when some of them have put their foot in their mouth and I'm not sure people really get the Wizard of Oz analogy to the man behind the curtain, but anyway. 20 years ago when I tested positive, and off the cuff, my mother said, you should write a book. I started to do just that. And as I said, I'm the type of person who goes out and researches and reads. And one of the best things I read back then was Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit number 1, being proactive is more than taking initiative. It's accepting responsibility for our own behavior, past, present, and future, and making choices based on principles and values rather than on moods or circumstances, or who may give you the biggest campaign contribution. To me, the second habit was the most important, and it really is the thrust behind starting to write my story down. Begin with the end in mind. 20 years ago, I thought that was going to come up pretty quick. Covey says about that, habit number 2, all things are created twice. First, mentally, second, physically. Individuals, families, teams, and organizations, covers the whole gamut, shape their own future by creating a mental vision and purpose for any project. They don't just live day to day without a clear purpose of mind. They mentally identify and commit themselves to the principles, values, relationships, and purposes that matter most to them. And habit number 3, put first things first. Putting first things first is the second, or physical, creation. It is organizing and executing around the mental creation, your purpose, vision, values, and most important priorities, that grand plan that we're waiting for. Second things do not come first, first things do not come second. Individuals and organizations focus on what matters most, urgent or not. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. In Covington and in this country, the main thing is our quality of life for everyone. We, the people, means everyone.